Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you the Valentine's Day nails you see here. They are made from acrylic nails and they are going to be using forms. They, like if they're doing them. I'm going to be using nail forms on this, and I'm using my practice hand. I'm just using my clear nail tips on here. I'm removing that fake cuticle that they put on the nail tips because I want to use as much of the surface of the nail as possible. And then I'm just going to go ahead and clip them down to a shorter length to make it look more of a natural nail look. And I'm just going to file the sides as well as the free edge and just buff the top really gently to get it prepared for the base and the acrylic application. Did use some alcohol on the brush, and I'm just brushing off both from the front and the back. And then I'm going to use this Ultra Bond from Hey Beautiful. This is really great for acrylic nails. It is air drying, so I just let it air dry just for a tad bit. It will be very sticky. I think that's why I really like it, because it works really great with acrylic. So yeah, I'm putting a very thin layer on this. I let it air dry for just a tad bit, and then I'm going to go in with one of my favorite monomers, which is the Mia Secret liquid monomer. I love this because when I'm not sure exactly what kind of design I'm doing on the nails, I can still play around with it. Here I'm using Glitter Planet acrylic brush. It's one of my favorite brushes. I think the number is 10 that I purchased, but the number's already rubbed off from how much I've used this. I love this brush. It's really nice. I'm also using the Clear Young Nails acrylic. As you guys know, that's one of my favorite acrylics to use. And I'm also using Mia Secret's, I think it's beige or something beige. And this is also Mia Secret's nail forms. They're one of my favorites. They are very strong, durable, and I've just learned to work with them very well. You can get these off of Amazon as well. But I do have a lot of Mia Secret products that I like personally for acrylic, and as well as Young Nails and some Hey Beautiful products. There's just a ton of different things. It all depends on what you like, but I like mixing products and seeing what works with what. That's just personal preference. And then the little leftover sticker I apply it to the bottom just to make sure it doesn't pop open, because sometimes that happens when you use nail forms. I'm squeezing it very tight, making sure it's all sticked on there. And I just go in with my bead. I make sure it's a nice bead. You don't want it to be too wet or too dry. You want it to be wet enough to be able to adhere and not be crazy dripping everywhere, but you don't want it to be dry where you have to completely press down or go more into your acrylic brush. It just depends on what you like to do, but I like to play around with the acrylic, move it around, and that's another reason why I do like the Mia Secret's liquid monomer. It's great for beginners. It takes a while for it to dry, so it lets you play around with the acrylic just a bit so that you can correct things if there's any mistakes. So I do just a little thin layer just to extend the nail. That's all I'm doing. I'm extending the nail. I'm not really building or doing a structure to the nail with this. I am just adding the length that I want, and I'm deciding what type of length I want. I do add a little bit more to the middle of the nail, but you don't have to do the whole nail. And it is just, like I said, for structure. This is, I mean, not for structure. This is just to extend the nail so that I can apply whatever color or glitter acrylic I want to do on top of this. Okay, after I am done, I remove the nail forms from the nails and I go on and I just file it. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. If you just want to pile on the acrylic and then file it, that's really up to you. I personally like to file it to make it as least possible, as chunky and thick as possible. And I love working on nails that are already shaped because I use the brush, as you will see when I use other acrylic colors and glitters, to shape it and make it as clean as possible so that there's a lot less filing for me to do towards the end. Like I said, it's just personal preference, but you can do as you please. But I am gonna just file the side walls, file the free edge, and just any bumps or imperfections on top of the nail, because sometimes it can happen. So you want to make sure that you have it as clean canvas as possible to apply the color and the glitter on top. Okay, now I'm going to be using number 69 and 71 of my own personal glitter mixes that I've made. I do have a YouTube video on this if you're interested. It's on my channel. As well as I'm going to be using these three kind of glitters, the hot pink, the purplish, and that kind of gold-ish beautiful color. It's more like a champagne color. And I'm just going to mix them. Wherever I put these glitters is where I'm going to put those different kind of hearts because I wanted it to be where the hand moves, and depending on where the light hits it, those different glitter colors will pop out and you'll see those hearts. Just, it will be really pretty. And it had to be glitter on top of glitter because, you know, I love glitter. So now I'm just putting in a bead, and I work with small beads here, and I take my time. I like patting it in, moving it around where I want it. I'm just going to do sort of an ombre effect here. I'm doing the darker color first towards the cuticle, and then I'm bringing that down. And I'm going to add another bead just to make a nice little ombre for that. And then I'm going to do the light color in there as well. And it's kind of like a sideways ombre. And then I'm going to add the different hearts that you'll see me add right before I go in there with the 3D art hearts. The 3D art hearts, the holographic hearts. I put a very thin layer of acrylic just so that the hearts can stick onto something. You don't want to take too long with that because you don't want to keep adding clear acrylic on top and then keep adding the hearts, and then it'll be a really bulky nail. You want to just work with that one layer of clear if possible, very thin clear acrylic on top, and then right away work really fast on applying all the hearts you need to, or any arts, so that you don't have to make a thick nail. And then when I am completely done with that, I will go in there and encapsulate the nail with just clear acrylic. While that one is drying, before I put the clear acrylic over it, I'm doing this nail the same way I did the previous nail, but I'm only doing half a nail. So half of the nail will have the glitter design with the hearts, and the other half will have a solid color, just to bring more design and for it not to be too much, because I feel like I would sometimes go overboard with the designs and the glitter. I love glitter and crystals and just crazy exaggerated nail designs. That's just personally my own preference. But I do also have to remember that I have to balance it out with solid colors or just with more toned down colors, if that makes any sense. But here I'm just going to put the hearts, and after I do that, I do put a clear layer of acrylic, and you'll see me do that. And I only do it to the right side, like to the side where I put the glitter on. I only focus it there, and I make sure that I have enough of it to fully cover the glitter, because I am going to file on top of the glitter, as well as I'm going to make that horizontal line a lot sharper. So I'm gonna file on the side. So I wanna make sure that I have enough clear acrylic there to cover it for the filing. And here you'll see me now, I'm encapsulating it, and you want a really nice wet bead to make sure it gets in between, especially when you have any kind of design or art in between. You want to make sure you have enough acrylic, that there's no air bubbles or anything like that. So you want it to be a really nice wet bead, and you want to take your time. If you need to, you can definitely go back in there and get some more monomer to wet your brush to make sure that everything is going by really smoothly. And then I did remove, I don't know if you saw, but there was some acrylic by the cuticle. I did remove that right away so it doesn't dry and harden there. And I put some towards the free edge here and just swiping it right back up. Now I'm going to be working on a solid color. This is the Mia Secrets. I think it's beige something. I forget what the name is, but I'll have it linked down below. And this is the Mia Secrets. One of my one of my favorite acrylics that I love. This pink is like everything. I use it for everything, for French nails, for just to have with any other color. Like, it's just so beautiful, and it has a little shimmer to it, so it does look a little bit more of a nude pink, but it has shimmer in it, so it's really, really pretty, and I really like it. I have about 3 of these containers still in my drawer because I love it so much. And I'm just gonna work with this hand and apply a few beads to complete this solid nail, so there's nothing else really to do with this one. And for this one, I don't need to put a clear layer of acrylic on top because this one is strong enough to be able to be filed on top of and not need to be encapsulated anyway. But the next one you'll see me do, that's a solid color as well. It's a lighter nude pink. That one does need to be, because that's a color I personally made, and it's not strong enough to withhold the nail file, and it will start scraping off the color and leave marks, if that makes sense. So here's where I'm showing you guys how I will go in there and just shape it so that when I apply the solid color on the side, it will go really nice without needing to do any other effort. Now, I wouldn't do this if that was a client. What I would do, I would use the X-Acto blade or some sort of blade that's dulled down, or tool that you can just sculpt or remove some of that acrylic when it's wet and not set, so that way that creates a nice sharp line. You don't want to use a file horizontally like that on a client. You can get to their cuticle, you can get to their skin. This is a practice hand, so it's super easy for me to just do as I please with the hand and move it around as much as I want and file as much as I want. But it is very different when you work with the customer. You want to make sure that they're comfortable and that you do not hurt them. And this was one of the colors that I made, one of the mixes that I made. So I do have to encapsulate this one and seal it and make sure that it is protected when I do file on top of it. So that is the only thing when you make your own acrylic. But like I said, the previous one, the Mia Secrets, and a lot of other color ones are perfectly fine when you file on top. But you will find out, as much as you keep trying, you will find out which ones you can and which ones you can't. So that's what I'm doing in here. I don't know about you guys, but from a ton of videos that I watch, especially acrylic videos that I watch, this is my favorite part. It is the filing, just how they filed and I just kind of zone out and watch this. So I hope you feel that way when I'm showing you guys here, because I really do enjoy the filing process, even though I take my sweet time, and this is nowhere near as long as I take, because I try to trim it down for you guys and make it so that you enjoy the video and you're not sitting here forever watching me. Just because I'm very particular, I move the hands upside down, I turn them from side to side. I want to make sure all the angles are as clean as possible so that I can get this done. But yes, I really enjoy this. This is my favorite part. But I do file and clean off anything else, and this is where I start applying any nail art, any crystals, any glitter, anything that can go on top of the nail. And you will see me adding a whole bunch of stuff to the rest of these nails. After I apply this holographic tape, I am just going to make sure that I cut off both sides, and I'm going to use the Pro Gel base. This is usually the base I use when I do press-ons on myself that last 3, 4, 5 weeks on your nails. It is amazing, from I.E.D Beauty. So I love to use this base to seal any type of art in between that I do not want to pop out or move. If you just do a top coat, it will lift. It has lifted on me, on my clients. I don't know why, it just does. But when you use some sort of base, especially a thick base like this Pro Gel, it holds it beautifully. And then after I cure that, I go in there now with the top coat. So I'm using the I.E.D Gel No Cleanse top coat now to seal it and give it that beautiful shine. This will hold that tape, that 3D art, anything in there forever. It's amazing. And then I'm just going to top coat this nail because I am completely done with this nail. And I do have some crystals to do to another nail, as well as some other designs I'm going to apply. So like I said, this video was not, I had no plan. I just took out everything that I thought was Valentine's Day, everything that I thought would be pretty, pink, purple, beige, beautiful nudes, and I just started doing each nail as I'm going. So here's the gummy jelly that I love. You guys know this is one of my favorites to apply crystals and any type of nail arts. I'm just applying some to the nail here, and I'm doing it to the upper part because that's where I'm planning to put the gold, like champagne color crystal design there. And I'm gonna do the No Cleanse top coat right on top of this, very gentle, so that that thick jelly gummy stays intact and everything else is sealed. And I'm just trying to figure out which way I want it, because I tried it both ways and I'm like, maybe this way, maybe that way, maybe by the free edge, maybe by the cuticle. But I liked it this way. And it's a little bit harder when it's, I don't know, I guess when it's on a customer, because like I said, it's so much different. You have to see how close to the cuticle, you have to see, you know, how thick the design is, and if they're able to still work and use these type of nail arts. So that's why I kind of go a little extra when it comes to the mannequin hands, because I really don't have a limit. I can do whatever I want to them. So I do the same technique to this nail. I do some of the gummy jelly all over, very, very thin, and then I do a top coat right on top of that. and now I'm gonna do the crystals. And this took me a bit because I kept moving things around. I don't know if I liked it. I don't know if that's how I wanted it. But I ended up just kind of doing champagne and very light baby pink crystals and moving them around until they fit perfectly for this design. And after that's cured, I do go in there with a top coat to fully seal anything, especially these bigger crystals. Like I can get the brush in there. So I know I needed to get some sort of gel in there to make sure that they're in there, but you don't want to submerge them in there. Then I go with a tinier brush just to clean up any imperfections and make sure all the crystals are good and that there's no imperfections in the nail. So that's a good way to look at it. And I cure this, and this is how the nails turn out. I really hope you guys like this. I thought this was super pretty and very Valentine Day-ish, and I love the extraness. It's just who I am. So don't forget to subscribe, like my video, and also comment down below anything you guys would like to see. Thank you guys so much for watching and for the support. See you on my next one.